Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to.
Join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome back to the Inspired Action Podcast. My name is Jay, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Lita Herman.
Hello, everyone.
Lita's in the house.
I'm in the house.
This is the world headquarters of the Inspired Action Podcast.
Yes. And
Center of the universe? No,
Center of the universe.
Maybe. For this podcast,
For
maybe.
Earth it is.
That's right. We're going to talk about Earth today.
Today's all about Earth, center of the universe. Hey, yes. Pod 90. We're in a series right now about entering the mystery gate and how each element feels about entering the mystery gate. In other words, when you enter the mystery gate, you're going to encounter your monsters in the darkness. And we had this great idea when doing Pod 87. So if you haven't heard Pod 87, you can go back and listen to it, that we should explain how each element will interact with this stage of alchemy, with this step in alchemy.
Some of them, maybe the roadblocks or little landmines or things that might keep you from going into that mystery gate, into that dark tunnel.
Yes. And so it's about really examining yourself in the darkness. That's what this is all about. We're talking about entering the unknown. And the way we do that is different depending on our temperaments.
I'll tell you right now, that is not on the top of the list for an Earth person. They do not like the unknown.
No, that's true. But they do like to know themselves.
They do. And they like to process and they like to think.
So that we can use that to our advantage. Even if you don't like the unknown, you at least like to understand yourself.
That's definitely. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. So we want to encourage you, again, go back to Pod 87 if you are just catching up on this. Listen to that before you continue.
Then 88, then 89.
Yes.
See, and we'll get you in there. Now we're at 90.
And the idea here is that depending on whether you're wood, fire, earth, metal, or water, you're going to have very different monsters and goblins in your dark tunnel.
Why do you pick on the goblins?
Those poor goblins.
I know. Goblins are cute.
Are they?
I don't know. My goblins are cute.
Okay, well,
I've watched a lot of sci-fi. Yeah. They're never cute. You know.
All right. Well, how about dragons in the dark tunnel?
That's nice.
Oh, so I'm trying to find scary things, Jay.
Well, they all can be scary, actually.
And so the question is, how do you deal with those when they come up? And how do you have the courage to keep walking in the dark?
Yeah. And, I think that if you go back to 87 and 88 and 89 and you start to listen to the other elements and you get to Earth, you choose the curriculum before you were born. We also tie it into the 9 palaces from time to time. So far in this lifetime, you've spent a considerable amount of time trying to figure out what your curriculum is, especially if you're Earth first or something.
Yes. And then no one really tells you what it is.
That's the kicker, right?
Yeah.
Should come with like instruction manual. This
Yes.
is your life, asterisk. Here's what you're really supposed to do.
Yes. And instead we get these parents or siblings or teachers who think they know our curriculum. And then they start telling us what it should be.
Something completely different.
And then
you figure it out for yourself.
So if you're Earth, what is that curriculum? It's likely, okay, we don't know for sure, but your curriculum probably has something to do with being part of a community, a sense of belonging, a sense of maybe being part of a family.
Yeah, I was just going to say community could be family, strong family ties.
And what if your parents weren't the type that created a sense of family?
Also, metal has a big, strong family, but we're talking about this, encompassing community. Think community/family. Yeah, but it could be a work community. It could be a neighborhood community. It could be sibling community, family. Yeah,
I mean the idea.
You get the idea.
If you just think about how an Earth person would feel if we all sat in a circle and talked about our feelings,
and braided our hairs and adjusted our ponchos. Oh boy, I said it. There we go. We're not even 1 minute in and I've mentioned the ponchos.
Hey, we didn't even say sing kumbaya.
No. See, there you go. Earth, do not attack, please.
And please don't write us emails about how you hate kumbaya.
Maybe the goblins are wearing ponchos in the darkness singing kumbaya.
There you go.
With 2 braids on each side. That's scary to me. Earth might be like, oh, I love that. Okay. That's not scary.
Everyone, Jay has Earth last. We have to forgive her.
And I do not own a poncho.
We have to forgive her.
But for some odd reason, I see them everywhere. Everywhere. I went into a store and literally they had a rack full of them and I whipped out my phone And I
But
take a
they're in
picture.
fashion right now. You got to get with the program, Jay. You need a
I am
poncho.
not getting a poncho, not even if it's Gore-Tex or anything.
Okay, everyone, send Jay pictures of ponchos so she can pick out
If
what.
you send me a picture of a poncho, I will send you an Inspired Action t-shirt.
There you go.
But you have to be wearing the poncho.
Okay.
You will get a t-shirt. I will make sure.
Okay. Well, Jay does not want to alienate
No,
any
I
Earths.
love Earth.
She loves Earth. And she really, truly does. Her best friends are Earth. So many Earths feel, alienated. If Jay
Okay,
says
thanks for
something
outing
like
my
that,
friends there.
yeah.
No, they're like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are.
But that's because they were alienated in their own families growing up. They might just be their monsters in the dark might be fear of not belonging to a family. And so they're desperately seeking a place to call home.
I think home is the key word. So how is that different than the fire element not wanting to fit in?
It's a little different in that it's about a communal sense of love. It's a multiple people's sense of love, not just a one-on-one heart connection. It's a bigger, all-encompassing love.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So if you're Earth, maybe your whole life doesn't even match who you are because you just can't find that home. And that can happen.
Wait. We haven't even told everyone. We're already like knee deep into this, and we haven't told everyone about the news and all the great things that are going on outside of the Inspired Action podcast.
Oh, right. Okay. So let's talk about that real quick before we
I always like
continue.
to start with, if you enjoy this podcast, if you've chuckled, if you've learned something, if you've looked at yourself a little bit differently in a positive way, please take a second to rate and review the podcast on the iTunes. It helps people. We have listeners all over the world, and that's how they find us.
Yes.
So it really does help. It only takes a second.
Yes. And we announced in our last podcast, if you heard it, but we're going to announce it again today because it's still new.
What is it, Lita?
It's so
Is it
exciting.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. We have a new app, and the app is available. It's called Alchemy Learning Center, and it's in iTunes, in the Apple Store, and it's also on the Google Play Store. So you can get it on. Yay! You can get it on your iPhone or
You get it on any device that's attached to your hand or your eyeballs, which is pretty much everyone at every
basically
time,
any
all the time.
device. There you go.
If you have a device, you can find us.
And what's in the Alchemy Learning Center, Jay?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing. No, it's so packed. It's like it's growing every week. We have online classes. We have guided meditations. We have a ton of free stuff. We also have, you tell them about the Dao.
Yeah, we just a couple of weeks ago launched a new free class, which is just, we look at it as a way for you to begin your self-cultivation of your body.
It's like a morning routine we're trying to build on.
We're going to have a series of things that are about morning routine and what you can do in the morning that go with our guided meditations. That's more about getting your chi flowing. So we have something called the 7 circles and the Dao exercises. And that's like Qigong for the morning.
It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
It's what Lita and I do every day. We do a little Kundalini. We do the 7 circles, the Dao. We do Tai Chi every day. We do the sun style. And of course, we meditate just a little bit, right?
Yeah. Today was an hour, but okay.
Throw that in there just a little bit. But you have to build, you have to start. That's the number one thing I hear all the time is I don't know where to start. So we're trying to build a foundation for people to start or to maybe change it up a little bit if you're a little bored with what you're doing.
And we're just about to launch our next year, 2022 agenda or calendar for our classes. We're going to do
agenda sounds really formal.
Yeah, we're going to do some 5-element for raising children, 5 elements for loving each other better, like relationships. We're going to do, so for children, it'll be great for all the earth people because that really matters. We're going to be doing more Chinese medicine classes, like maybe the moxibustion or how to read a tongue, lots of things like that. So there's a lot coming up.
I'm not even going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole, how to read a tongue. I am not going to get a tongue lashing from everyone out there. I'm just being tongue-in-cheek. Go on, stop me now.
Stop.
Okay, back to the Learning Center. We have live events. We have the Ghost Points webinar, which Lita did for Lhasa OMS, which we had over 1,200 people sign up. We had over 500 and something odd come to the actual event. And then we had our 4-hour giant Ghost Points webinar, which we had people all over the world. It was amazing. Lita hit it out of the park. I'll give you another. Applause there. That's the only button I have today. And so that was just amazing. So if you wanted to come to that, you can still see it. We have it now on the Alchemy Learning Center. If you missed it, come and check it out. And also, we're throwing in the bonus of the webinar that Lita did for Lost OMS. So that's on the alchemylearningcenter.com.
And just for the very last thing, we have a curated pod list. So if you like to listen to the past podcasts, episodes.
And you're in a hurry, you don't want to listen to them all. Although I don't know why. You don't want to listen to every single one. We are on number 90, so catch up. No, if you just want a specific topic, or if you want to kind of brush up on your wood or your fire or your earth.
It's just easy to do.
And that's always free.
Yeah. And
we love free.
And the Alchemy Learning Center is also supposed to be a place where we can talk to each other, where we have the ability to be a community. So from an earth perspective, you're going to love the Alchemy Learning Center. It's just the beginning. We're really just launching this. So we're hoping to have a lot more communication amongst each other. We're basically looking for friends. We're looking for alchemists who share this idea of working on ourselves, of
Think
evolving.
of it as an online circle of friends.
Yes, an online circle of friends. So there's a way that we can all communicate. We can send messages to each other, kind of like Facebook, but it's like much better. And so we can talk to each other in the Alchemy Learning Center. So that's our spiel. Let's
we got a lot
move
going on.
We
We'd just like to keep everyone updated.
Yep.
If you have any questions, as always, just shoot us an email.
Yes.
Drop us an email. I don't know what they say anymore, the kids today. I don't know. Mind meld us an email.
Or DM us in the Alchemy Learning Center.
Oh, there you go. Ding, 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 ding. DM us in the Alchemy Learning Center. Okay. All right, let's go. Earth, Earth, Earth. What is the scary tunnel for Earth?
Yes. So if you're going to enter the mystery gate, that means you're going to walk through the gate into the tunnel where it's dark. And as you walk into the darkness, you realize that you don't really know what's on the walls. You don't know what's in front of you. It's a little scary.
And you want to know.
Yeah.
You want to figure it out.
If you're Earth, you really want to know. So for Earth, this is about all the ways maybe that you've been invalidated in life. Those are your scary monsters. Like your parents, maybe didn't make you feel like you're part of the family. We said that earlier. And that alone can be invalidating.
It could also be a boss who maybe put you down or
ignored you.
Yep, kept you in a bad position or something. Yeah,
or overlooked you.
Yes, yes, and you just took it for years and years and years. Yeah.
Yes, and then you didn't feel like you belonged. Like fires. For Earth, it's maybe not so much about physical safety. I mean, I'm sure there is some of that for every single person, but the lack of safety you feel in a community is more important. So maybe not your physical body, but that you can belong. So where people are not safe because they refuse to tell the truth. This is huge for Earth. If other people are lying, they're not, unlike fire, they're not going to be lying to themselves as much. It's more about, are other people not telling the truth? This is what gets Earth people crazy.
Yeah.
So if you love the truth and the darkness is filled with the untruths, those are your scary monsters.
Yeah, with the ponchos and the braids and the goblins.
Because Earth is not afraid of the truth. They're afraid of the liars. So
and then now we'll add that to the goblins.
Yes.
Those lion poncho wearing braided.
Okay.
Not hugging.
Not hugging. Yes. So they're afraid that they won't be able to get to the true understanding of something. They're afraid of the cover up and the covering up of the truth.
Yeah, that is big. Actually, all the thinking, all the processing, that's what they're really working on.
And, it's interesting. I was just thinking, like, all these conspiracy theories right now, they could really get to Earth people because, it gets to all elements, really. But for Earth, if there's a cover up, if something, they really want to get to the real truth.
With a capital T.
Yes, yeah. Truth with a capital T. They want realness. So if you're going to enter the mystery gate and explore the darkness and your Earth, you might not be afraid of the darkness at all, especially the darkness within yourself or other people, but that doesn't mean there aren't goblins in your tunnel. In fact, there are likely a lot of them because people have lied. They've covered up the truth. They may have been trying to be nice, and that's why they lied, but instead of validating your existence, they've invalidated it. I can't tell you how many Earth people have told me they've been gaslighted. I mean, it's like the worst.
Think about it.
Thing.
Families aren't always honest with each other. They bury secrets. They, like, don't talk about this. Work, same thing.
Yes.
They don't want to talk about. They don't rock the boat. They just bury things, and that is really, really challenging for Earth people.
So gaslighting's the worst thing. It's like this slow little lie, little lie, little lie, and then
Till you're complacent.
till you're complacent. So that would be an example. So Earth often feels sideswiped by these instances of invalidation. It could be as simple as believing that eating a particular food is the very best option you could have in life. And then, years later, you're told by someone or something or in the medical establishment and that it's not true. And you trusted the advice originally and you held it as true. And then it caused you to become ill. That news that you wholeheartedly believed in, now you find out it's false and it's impacted your health. And that leaves you stunned and shocked and feeling powerless. I mean, that would just be an example.
Yeah, that's just one. But if you take that and apply it to any of the scenarios we've already talked about, you can see how that can be really debilitating for an Earth person.
It could
emotionally.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as that, or perhaps someone specifically lied to you, which is even worse. If your spouse lied to you, for example, it's just devastating to have the closest person to you be harboring a lie.
Yeah, that is just tough.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be lying about the financial situation you're in as a couple. And then you find out, like, you didn't know that you didn't have as much money or your spouse was gambling or something. And like, that's horrible. And that could just be, just beyond devastating.
And I sometimes feel that when I talk to Earth people, they feel like then maybe they're, so perhaps that betrayal could then make them feel like they weren't as intelligent as they maybe could have been, like they didn't see it coming, or they maybe like been duped.
Yes.
Is that kind of like,
oh my God, that's the worst. So we learn that people can't be trusted when we're little kids. Like, let's say your mother sees your neighbor walking toward the house and she starts grumbling under her breath, like, oh, darn, I just can't stand Millie. I don't have time for her today. I wish she'd go away. And then your mother opens the door and says, oh, Millie, it's so wonderful to see you. Come on in, have some tea. Tell me all about your husband. And there's the Earth kid standing there going, I don't understand what my mother just did. And it's almost heartbreaking for them. They see this. They love their mother so much. They worship her. And then to see that she's lying.
or two-faced.
Yeah. But they don't understand.
They don't
that.
even
When
know
they're
what that
little,
is
They don't
yet.
know what two-faced
Yeah.
is. They just like, what just happened? And, maybe the mom had just promised to play a game with you. And then maybe you start getting angry. Maybe you're really pissed. And so you might even blurt out, Mama, you said you didn't want to talk to Millie.
Wow.
And if you said that, because you're innocent, you're this little kid.
I know what that'd get in my house. If that
Oh
was.
my God. Your mother now punishes you for being rude.
Yep.
So, wow.
I think that mom was fire.
Yes, I think so. So not only is your
Just
mother
joking.
honestly, you're
I
not
know.
that far from the truth. So your mother, is lying, and now she's punishing you for telling the truth. And that is crushing for Earth because it completely invalidates you and especially your life's commitment to truth.
Yeah, just to be fair, that also could be wood,
Yes.
because they can kind of be very polite and social like that.
It's really, actually, there's a lot of justice in wood. So I think it would definitely get triggered if mom just promised to play the game
Right.
and then turned around and was nice to the other person, but sort of dissed you. That
It
could really
just
upset a
trigger
wood person.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that.
Because it's unjust. It's not right.
And I had a fire
It's not
mom,
fair.
so I probably just saw that example play out in my
Yeah.
head. Like, whoa, that would bother me too.
Well, because wood is about fairness.
Right.
And that was not fair.
Right.
Okay. And so it begins relationship after relationship. You might be seeking the truth. You might be seeking validation, just trying to get someone to see you and truly understand you. And you're just getting niceties and untruths.
Yeah, and you're not really getting anywhere.
Yeah. So what's in that tunnel and how do you want to proceed? Earths are going to be the ones who want the tunnel more than anyone else because they love self-realizations. They'll go to great lengths to get them. So it's not really that you have to be convinced to enter the mystery gate, but I do think maybe you need to be a little cautious not to go too fast because maybe you have a lot of traumas that are really big and there's a lot of trauma that can be in there. And even though you really want the truth, the fact is that it can be very unsettling and you have to go slow.
Well, and I also think that for Earth, the challenge is to take time for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, they're always putting everyone in front of them, everyone else's needs, even if it's not in a good, healthy way. So you have to really want to start to really take some time for yourself.
That's a really good point. So, again, Earth's belief in truth. Earth children can sometimes be a little more vulnerable to lying adults than other elemental types. I mean, I agree, Jay. Every kid in that situation is going to be upset. But there can be more physical harm done by dishonest adults to Earth children than with the other elements.
Well, I just meant that comment of like, you just told me Millie was a bleep and now you want me to be nice to her. That would be me. No, I'm just joking.
Totally.
But
totally.
Every child's going to be disappointed and react differently.
Yes. As a child, if this has happened to you, for a long time afterwards, you can even be in total shock.
Yeah.
And that can cause you to feel vulnerable to more bad adult behaviors. And so
You might think that's the norm.
Yeah.
Which is not really good for Earth.
So this is just our personal observations of like a large sampling of elemental types in our clinic.
We know everyone's different. Everyone's wonderful and beautiful and born perfect.
Yes.
I have to say that every time because I truly believe it, but I just don't want people to think we're like ganging up on Earth.
So as much as Earth want to examine themselves and get to know their truths, I do know that going slow and steady wins the race for Earth.
Yes.
So dealing with the shock, if you haven't already, that could be a first step.
And also taking time for yourself would be the first step.
Right. And there's even a point on the spleen channel.
Spleen 3.
If we could,
from the non-acupuncturist.
Yes, for the non-acupuncturists or the acupuncturists out there, the spleen 3 point is your source point for Earth. So it's right next to your big toe joint. And I think this point is that wide-eyed Earth kid going to the big city and kind of looking around in a daze. It's like at the end of the Entering the Mystery Gate guided meditation, we say you leave the dark tunnel and you walk into the bright, bright light, and it's like overwhelming and you're kind of in a daze and there's a lot of noise. That's what spleen 3 is like. And that happens to Earth people when things aren't going right.
So they stub their toe? Is that what you're saying?
They stub their toe. Yeah, exactly. Because they have an innocence and a wonder in sort of how they engage the world. If the world were a nice place always, it would be perfect because they could just be that innocent,
absolutely
wondering child, just wandering and wondering, and just enjoying life. And so they want to trust in goodness and in truth.
And that's really the innocence we want Earth to get back.
So let's just, let Earth go back to that sense of forgiveness and returning to a sense of innocence and wonderment.
And give yourself a big hug.
Yes.
Because you deserve it.
And next up is our podcast on metal in the tunnel.
Yes.
In the darkness.
It's going to be riveting.
It's going to be.
Metal rivets.
Walking through the graveyards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there. We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast, and if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.